You mind your language, you. I mean it. Watch what you're saying. Dave Caudle here with another top tip for your career. That's really an important point, just thinking about the language that you're using. I mean, think about the language we're using around the COVID crisis at the moment. We're talking about self-isolation. How horrible is that? It's like cut yourself off from everyone. You're on your own. Why aren't we calling it self-insulation? Wrapping ourselves up, keeping ourselves warm, protecting ourselves and protecting others. But that's a point that's really important right now. But what about for the future? What about for your career? What's the language that you're using that's actually preventing you getting what you want out of your career? So I want to share a few examples here to get you going, and then I want to leave you to go away and think about what can you do to change your language and just start noticing the language that you're using. Because we're all talking all the time, even if it's all these thoughts that are going on up here. And there are loads of them all day, every day. When you start paying attention to those thoughts, you'll start to notice that a lot of those things are focusing on the negatives and on what you don't want and what you're upset about. So what a good sort of tip, a general tip to have, is just to start to notice your language, start to notice what are the things that you're saying, particularly to yourself, but also what are you saying out loud, and think about how much of that is negative. And if you find yourself focusing on the negative things, then just take a moment, firstly, to congratulate yourself on noticing it. That's really important. Otherwise, you start a sort of downward spiral. So congratulate yourself on noticing. And then ask yourself, what would I rather have? Or what would I rather feel right now? And come up with at least 3 different options, because then you've got choice. And then choose the one that's best for you and do that different thing or feel that different feeling. It'll make a huge difference, and when you get in the habit of it, it starts to make a massive difference to how you feel and the results that you get. So that's a general thing, just to notice the language you're using. And I'm just going to introduce you to some specific things that people talk about. So one of the key things in career coaching is that I deal with a lot of people who are going through redundancy. And it's just part of the landscape, right? That's what happens in today's world of work. And it's important that you don't get in the habit, which a lot of people do, of saying, I was made redundant, I was made redundant, I was made redundant, I was made redundant. Because you're saying it again and again and again to people. You say it in interviews to people who say, why are you on the job market? You say it to recruiters, why are you on the job market? People, friends, family, other people will ask you what happened. So it's important that you don't start that, because redundant is a really negative word, in fact. It says, I'm on the scrap heap, I'm no longer useful. And I'm here to tell you that's a load of old rubbish. And the fact is that when your job is made redundant, and that's the language you need to use, my job or my role was made redundant, you walk away with every single skill and quality that you've ever had. It's all there, it's all part of you, and you're taking them outside. It's just a question of where do you want to use them next. Okay, another one. And I wonder if you've ever heard this. This was a phrase I sort of grew up with in my childhood, and I found that I was using it a lot in my adult life. And if it was something that was a bit complicated or something, I think, oh well, put it to aside, we'll worry about it later. Worry about it later? That's setting yourself up to find something difficult, worrying, upsetting. So why would you want to do that? So starting to change that language can make a huge difference to how you feel, and in fact the results you get. And I just came up with, well, instead of saying I'll worry about that later, I'll say, oh, I'll just deal with that easily later. And it not only changed how I felt about things, but it actually changed it. And I noticed that when I was dealing with those things, they were easy. Most of them were easy. So it makes a difference, because you're priming yourself to find things easy. And your unconscious mind will follow whatever directives you give it. So you kind of need to be aware of what you're saying and programming into your system. So there's a couple of things there that will get you thinking, I hope. What I'd like you to do as an action now is to go away and start paying attention to your language. What are the things that you're saying to yourself that are putting yourself down? Are you the sort of person who, when you drop something, go, oh, I'm so clumsy, or oh, I'm rubbish at that? Stop yourself, find some different language, find some more positive words, ask what would I rather have, what would I rather feel, what would be a more positive thing for me to be thinking right now about myself. It takes a while. I still find myself saying, oh, I'll worry about that later. Oh, no, let's change the language. You have to make a point of doing it. But keep at it and you will start to change the normal way that you respond, and it will start to make a difference. So have fun with it as well. And let me know through the Facebook group how you're getting on with it, what your questions are, and anything else. You can find links to the Facebook group in the information about this video.